I really want to make more videos on Gundam, and while I have some bigger ideas in the work, I recently finished watching Mobile Suit Gundam Twilight Axis, one of the shorter and more obscure pieces of Gundam media that a large portion of Gundam fans likely haven't seen, meaning the audience for this video will be tiny. Regardless though, I want to talk about the show and how great it is despite its shortcomings. A bit of background on Twilight Axis: it was a 6-part ONA series distributed by the Gundam Fan Club in 2017, with it having a short theatrical run too. All the episodes range from 2 to 3 minutes, bar the final one which is 9 minutes in total, adding to about 26 minutes overall. It's a very short piece of media. While most sources cite that it's based on a novel with the same name, apparently the concept for the animation was in development prior to the book, so both were worked on side by side effectively. It also takes some of its inspirations from the 12th century medieval classic chivalric story Tristan and Isolde. The story follows Arlette Almage and Danton Highleg, two remnants of Zeon who are contracted one day by a Federation agent to search the debris of Axis to search for any existing psychoframe technology they can find, following the Laplace box incident in Gundam Unicorn. We learn about the history of these two, Danton being a test pilot for old Zeon experimental suits like the AMX-104R Yaja. Danton was an excellent pilot, but due to their inability to actually harm others while piloting, they were relegated to only testing new and potentially dangerous Zeon mobile suits. Arlette, meanwhile, was Char Aznable's personal engineer. Originally a human test subject for the Flanagan Institute under the name Seven, she was subjected to various inhumane experiments, but her results weren't good enough, leading to her being disposed of. Fortunately, Arlette was extremely gifted in engineering and went on to meet Char and Lala soon at the Institute, going on to work closely with him on his personal mobile suits. Arlette believing Char saved them and forming a fascination with the man, a common occurrence with young girls in the Gundam universe. Arlette wouldn't just be fascinated with Char though, but also his suits, in particular the Sazabi. I really like seeing this historic mobile suit from Char's counterattack where it was left. There's a great sense of sadness in its portrayal, helped by Twilight Axis' somber music. It's also cool it's treated as a plot point, as Arlette wants to return to Axis to find out what happened to Char and his machine. It rewards you if you consumed all the Universal Century content up to this point, as that might be a thought you'd have as a fan of the series too. What happened to Char? What happened to the mobile suit he piloted? Is it still there even? And that's what we get to see in Twilight Axis. It isn't all emotional reminiscing and backstory, however, as the pair are attacked by two brothers, Quentin and Walter Firmo, piloting the RX-78AN-01 Gundam AN-01 Tristan and the RX-160G Bjarland Isolde, respectively. The Tristan is actually derived from the Gundam Alex from War in the Pocket, which is a nice little connection and makes me wonder how they potentially got their hands on it in the first place. These two were hired by a private military called Burnham, which traces its way back to the Butch concern, its founder Scharnhorst Butch being the one to buy the name Rona, a name you'll be familiar with if you watched Gundam F91, with his lineage stretching all the way to Cecily Fairchild, one of the protagonists of that film. It's more background info than anything, and I wish it had the time to flesh out this plot point, as it's a really great link between the Unicorn era of Gundam and F91, a period of time I desperately want to see fleshed out and hope it does in future Universal Century projects. We then get some cool battles showcasing these older mobile suits, and I think it's really appropriate that most are these old experimental models or their mobile suits derived from even older mobile suits like the Tristan. I'll get to why I like this in a bit. The final battle culminates with Arlette in the AMA X4 Ahava Azeru, a massive dragon-like mobile armor, and Quentin in the RX-78KU-01 Kurenal, an armored base for the Tristan, which looks a little goofy, but it's cool to see these chunky things go head to head with each other. Dayton comes to assist Arlette in the Yaja, and we get a nice emotional scene where he refers to Arlette as his daughter, something she likely looked up to Char as, and might have still done up to this point. This leads Arlette not being able to move and fearing Danton will die in his fight against Tristan, so she taps into her new type abilities and causes a psychoframe resonance. The familiar green light from Char's counterattack and Unicorn returns, with Quentin connecting with Arlette, finding out she was experimented on just like him, and decides to give up fighting as both were new types experimented on. I really like this sequence of events, as limiting and confusing as it might be. We get enough of the story to understand what's going on between these characters, with my biggest takeaway being that it's all about letting go. Danton and Arlette are chasing their past with Zeon. Arlette more so is chasing the ghost of Char, wanting to figure out what happened to him as he was a very important figure to her. And as I said, perhaps a father figure too. This reading makes the scene with Danton earlier hit even harder, as she might realize she already has a great father figure and decides to let go. They go back to the dry cleaners they have together. A detail I found myself asking, why are dry cleaners? That's an odd profession for a pair of Gundam protagonists to have at the beginning of the show, but then I realized by its end that it's perfect. They clean and wash clothes, giving them a fresh start essentially, which is what they get by letting go at the end of this story. It's a great little tie-in metaphor for themselves. As I mentioned earlier with the older mobile suits, the Tristan also feeds into this idea too, being a really old mobile suit originally from one of Gundam's oldest OVAs. It's a ghost of Gundam, and something that should have been given up a long time ago, but it's here being reused again. Thematically, I think this is a really great way to reuse these old mobile suits from old Gundam IPs though. Despite its short runtime, I feel like this theme is adequately explored and is relevant to the rest of the franchise. In Gundam, many of the characters and fans are so dead set on following the ideas of the past, the Federation, Zeon, Char, or Amuro, but like in Gundam Unicorn, we might just need to try something new, to pass things down to the next generation and just live our lives, not in the shadows of others, but in that warm green glow we produce ourselves. In this way, Twilight Axis excels in conveying its ideas of letting go and starting afresh. It's not a perfect piece of Gundam media by any means, and it could be a lot longer and have better animation, but for what it is, I really enjoyed it, enough to want to talk about it. Also, if you do nothing else and don't watch the show, please check out its ending theme, Confession by Takeshi Omama. It's a genuinely great song. If you watched all this way until the end, I really hope you've enjoyed and maybe found a new appreciation for Twilight Axis. Let me know what you think if you've seen it and if you'd like more content on Gundam. I have a couple videos on my channel already delving into the series theme of Connection if you'd like to watch them. I've also opened up a new Discord server if you'd like to join and chat about Gundam, Shonen Jump, or anything else. The link will be in the description. As always, thank you for watching, be kind to each other, and take care.